I'm Pete Walen. I'm a software tester, and I'm sitting here having a cup of coffee and a chat with two friends and colleagues of mine, Matt Heusser and Maik Nogens. Hey, guys.
Hi, Pete.
Hello.
Welcome.
We're at Agile Testing Days in Potsdam, Germany, talking about testing and Agile and all sorts of cool stuff, and just having a great time. It's been a very long week, but a lot of good things have been happening. And these two gentlemen to my left coordinated and ran the Software Testing World Cup contest for 2014. And I would like you two gentlemen to describe that a little bit, please.
Where do you start? So we have 6 rounds of 6 different continents of competition. People would sign up over the internet. We would tell them the software under test. And they would communicate with us over YouTube, leaving comments mostly. And then we would answer them while they're testing. They're testing the software. And during those 3 hours, they file bugs and they write a test report. After the competition is over, we get with the judges, and over the next several weeks, we judge the test report and the bugs, give them a score, announce the winners. The winners go to Germany for the Worlds, which was Monday. And at the Worlds, we do the same thing, only we have 3 hours of competition and 1 night of judging, and then we announce a winner.
So for the competitors, it sounds like it's a compressed version of what happens in reality. You don't have nearly enough time to actually test. You can't always think everything through. You're under pressure. You got to get the thing through, and you have to communicate clearly to the stakeholders for the project. Yeah?
That's exactly right. I would just add one thing to that, is that time pressure, forced deadline, and conditions of ambiguity, and sometimes even conflicting information. We tried to simulate our real project.
Oh, so it's, yeah, you're saying that projects really don't have those things in the real world, right?
What?
What, you're saying you've never seen a project with those things or without those things?
Then every project has those things, and we're simulating it. We're dealing with human beings who are inconsistent, human beings who don't think things through. We wouldn't have a job as testers if everybody got it right the first time, right?
Yes. And I think one of the main drivers why we started this project was to help the community of our testers, to bring them forward and bring them in situations and simulations where they actually can learn and grow. There's other great activities outside what they're doing, so we had just another flavor. And there were some quite blog posts from the side of attendees and judges, and everybody took away some learnings. And it was often like, man, that's exactly happening in my project. I never have access to the product owners, or he's rarely there. I have to deal with the uncertainty of information, and this little competition showed me that I have to work on certain skill sets, which I wasn't aware of before.
Well, it struck me, since I was a continental judge for at least a couple of them, that the cool thing about it is the opportunity for feedback that's not critical. It's just honest. It's not personal. This is what we saw. This is why we considered your team's level at this type of behavior. That you did this, you did this, you did this. These things were really good. These things could have been better. And it wasn't going to impact their job, wasn't going to impact their career, but it's something they could maybe learn from and apply at their job. Yeah?
Well, I mean, one of the things that I feel not the best about is that we didn't have enough time to give detailed feedback to every team. That would have been really nice. What I'm hoping comes out of the World Cup is we're trying to get permission from the teams right now to give away their test reports and the test strategy documents that they created, their notes. We've got their notes. Take them all together, scan them in, zip them up, put them in Dropbox, and then anybody that wants can have access to that Dropbox. And that would be cool. That'd be, look at all these reports. But the next step, which I think we've built the community to do, is to have the discussion around which test reports were better and why. That would be really great if that fell out of that.
Yes, I mean the best example was the final competition evaluation and scoring, where we really had a hard talk amongst each other, because there were really some good reports head to head, and yeah, we had diverse opinions in the group. So, but we came to a consensus, and I think if we can transport this idea to the world, to the testing community, like have a look, that is what our opinion was on it. Here you have some comments from other continental judges. What is your opinion? Do we have another twist? You can tell us, share with our community, so we all can learn and grow from it.
I think that is probably the really cool part about this. Yeah, there was we had a big party for them. They had a big event. The actual final contest was live streamed, and so there was the opportunity to actually feel like you were sitting back. I never quite thought that I'd think of software testing as a spectator sport, but it was kind of fun. It was kind of fun being like a color commentator for a football match when there was no real football going on. But it was good because it was talking about testing and observing how people were acting and watching what they were doing. And for me as an outsider, not as a hardcore participant judge who's looking to see behaviors and looking at trends and looking at what can be analyzed, but just watching the teams interact, it was interesting as they went up and down the levels of concern. I don't want to say stress, but they were definitely beginning to feel pressure at different times. It was great to sit back and say, yeah, this is what it's like. This is what projects really are like.
Yeah, well, one thing that when we open source the test reports, we're testers. We're a critical community. Right? This is bad. I could have done this. Right? You have to remember, they produce these test reports not just in 3 hours, but they had to do all of their testing first. And then in the time that remained, or simultaneously, if you've got multiple players, you've got to produce this report. So what do you do with limited time? Some of the teams had, I'll share this, some of the teams had templates where they had the report all done. They just need to fill in some details. Seems smart, right? But you're under test time pressure. So one of the teams that did a fantastic job, the report they turned in said, testing for software X. Just they forgot to fix the first page and fill in the template for what the software actually was.
Oops.
Yeah.
And also what I noticed, I mean, even as a judge, you are in it, so you can't really step back and see it from the big picture. So I'm really looking forward to watch the stream myself afterwards in a relaxed environment. But what I saw, as soon as the official closing of the competition was and the competitive factor was out of the window, there was a big relief, obviously, and the teams mingled and went to each other and said how did you tackle it, and really were just like colleagues again. So it was really, I think, a great experience for them, and also even with this little competition factor in it, a great joy.
Yeah, I thought that was really impressive, the way that they came together. Everybody grabbed a beer or a soft drink or something, and they just talked and walked around and compared notes, and I thought that was really impressive.
I was amazed by how intense they were. And there's 6 teams, so I didn't watch every single person all the time. But it looked to me like nobody went up and got a water. Nobody got a banana. Nobody got a pretzel. Nobody went to the bathroom. For 3 hours, they're... and I kind of have mixed feelings about that.
Well, the thing, I actually was a little bit concerned, but one of the things that I did notice is I kind of went, nobody's leaving their stations, is a bunch of the teams had grabbed bottles of water and had them on their tables.
Okay.
So they had stuff there. I think the team from Asia had little packages of candies that they brought from home, and so people had different things there, so they were snacking on stuff, but they weren't leaving their desks. Mm-hmm. So the whole, you must be at your desk. I think there was very much a self-imposed restriction on them.
Yeah. The other thing that changed the dynamic was that To ask the product owner a question, because of the live stream, people had to grab the mic. And that was a process, and it took time, and you can only do it one at a time. We did a test competition a few years ago. I don't know if you stayed there that night, but I was a participant, and the product owner was just there. So people could just go over and talk to him all the time. And one team actually moved their stuff to sit at the product owner's table and just all the time. It just changed the dynamic.
I remember that. Yeah, that was pretty funny.
That was the team that won, too.
Yep. Yeah. Okay, so we've talked about the Software Testing World Cup. Gentlemen, that was an amazing, amazing event. Very, very well organized. The two of you are to be commended. The sponsors who were involved in that did a tremendous job. I know HP was involved in sponsoring. And the software itself looked really, really good from what I could see. It looked like people were having a really hard time coming up with things. There's one other thing that I'd like to chat about, though, briefly. And that is something that came up last night as well, and that is Matt's winning the most influential Agile Testing Professional Person Award for this year. Congratulations, Matt.
Thanks, Pete.
Mike, do you want to comment on that? Since all of a sudden Matt is getting very shy and I'm putting him on the spot and not warning him?
I said thanks.
You did. Yeah, I mean, I took a little mischievous joy out of leading him a fool, I hope, so it was not so obvious.
Yeah, we kind of let him down the garden path, didn't we, for the last few days?
Yes. So, and it was, I mean, when you see the entry of when the people vote and say, I recommend this person with this and this reasons. So it was a mixture of what we said in the Laudatio, of all the long-term achievements which made Matt what he is. So it's really a range of aspects which came together. Of course, the World Cup was also the icing on the cake, and it's always the latest news keeping in people's minds. But it also covered the ranges from blogging, writing, and also organizing community events before. So yeah, I'm quite happy that I could also be a little part in that.
That was a very nice introduction you guys did. Thank you very much.
It was only heartfelt. And so with that, gentlemen, thank you. I'm Pete Walen. This is Matt Heusser and Maik Nogens at Agile Testing Days in Potsdam, Germany. Thank you very much.